Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
I gotta tell you, Eric, there's so much going on, and right in the core of it, in the center of it, is my buddy Elon. He is just every time I get a report in from the NHTSA or from the automotive news, I get something on my hot wire. There's always something about Elon in it. And the last story was about the Tesla getting sued for that. And it's who does racism in 2022? Give me a break. That's just ignorant. We are all in this together. Trust me, guys. We don't have a choice. Racism is it should be a dead issue. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm naive, but I don't even think about it anymore. I could care less. My buddies are my buddies, period. This story, Tesla stock sales by Elon Musk and brother Kimball are probed by the SEC. The investigation is focused on transactions late last year before Elon Musk polled Twitter followers asking if he should sell 10% of his stake in Tesla. He's got a big following on Twitter, and he puts that on Twitter, and the next thing you know, the Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating whether Tesla Inc. CEO Elon Musk and his brother Kimball violated securities law when selling shares in the company last year, according to a person who's familiar with the matter. This again is automotive news investigative reporting, and they don't give their sources. I don't blame them. The investigation, reported early by the Wall Street Journal, is focusing on whether any insider trading rules were violated. Oh, you think? Said the person familiar with the matter, who asked not to be named because the probe is private. The potential probe would escalate Musk's battle with regulators as they scrutinize his social media posts and Tesla's treatment of workers, including accusations of discrimination. My God, those days got to be over. God. Here we go again. Here's Tesla striking back. Tesla accused the SEC of targeting Musk for being an outspoken critic of the government. Musk also compared Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to Adolf Hitler. Oh yeah, this guy's off the wall. Tesla is facing a new round of regulatory pressures for unintended braking by its electric vehicles, allegations of racism at its California factory, and ongoing scrutiny of CEO Elon Musk by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. We just told you all about that. For public comments that could affect the stock's price. Well, that's the thing. He opens his mouth and stuff happens. Tesla and Musk fired back last week, claiming the SEC seems to be targeting Mr. Musk and Tesla for unrelenting investigation, largely because Mr. Musk remains an outspoken critic of this government. Well, Elon, maybe you should just learn to keep your mouth shut. People wouldn't hate you, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. You're just not doing it right. Something is amiss in Elon's world. I don't know what his problem is. And now he's got his brother involved. Poor guy. I don't think his brother's got to know what he's getting into. His brother. He's got to know him forever. He's got to know he's running with a huckster. Okay. There's a ship, caught fire off the coast of Portugal, about 1,000 miles off coast, and it's a mess. The cargo ship that caught fire last week in the Atlantic Ocean was carrying about 4,000 Volkswagen Group vehicles and could cost $334.6 million, according to the revised estimate from a U.S. economist. The Anderson Economic Group on Monday increased its estimate from $282 million on Friday. The ship caught on fire, and they suspect, given that the ship continues to burn, no crew is on board, and suspected lithium fires have been confirmed. We now estimate that nearly all of the vehicles are irreparably damaged and will not be saleable in the U.S. market. We note that these vehicles have experienced fire, smoke, and water damage, and they risk being submerged in salt water as well, in case that ship takes a dive. Of the roughly 438 million total of goods aboard it's called the Felicity Ace. That's the name of the ship, which went up in flames off the coast of Portugal's Azores Islands. Russell Group said Monday it estimates there are $401 million worth of cars. A VW spokesman declined to comment on the matter. Well, I would too, simply because there's something rotten in Denmark there. VW, I think it was 2019 or 2018, had a similar fire in the Atlantic area. A ship burned up with VWs on it.
It was 2018. I remember you reporting on that. It was in 2018.
And they had a similar problem. Only this time they burned up Porsches and Lamborghinis and Bentleys.
You know how I know?
Huh?
Because that was my second show when I started with you.
Really?
That's how I remember.
Holy cow! That's a memory. That's a good memory for a young man. You don't even have girls on your mind these days. All you're doing is remembering. Wow. As your age, all I did was think about other things. Oh my God. That's something else, poor kid. We got to take you out and buy you a beer one night and get you back in the swing of things.
That sounds about good.
Oh, you better. All right. I got to talk about Fisker. And you know what? As bad as Elon Musk is treating the car world, and I bring it out all the time, you would think I don't like him. I don't care about him. He doesn't mean anything to me. But this guy Fisker bothers me. He originally had a grant way back in the Obama administration. He got, I don't know how many million from the Department of Energy to research and build electric cars. He had a car battery factory that he was dealing with, and he was going to build these cars, the Fisker, and never happened. Never saw any Fiskers. I never saw any Fiskers. Never saw them at an auto show. Anyway, he sells the company to a Chinese firm who is now making the cars under a different name, of course. They're using that platform. But now he's got another company. Fisker is at it again. And I'm sure the government didn't give him money twice. I'd have to ask. But Eric, once they're burned, they usually don't give you another check. I don't think. So this had to be privately funded. He had to raise this money. There's some people going to be very upset with Mr. Heinrich Fisker. But anyway, Fisker Incorporated racked up roughly 1,500 reservations within days for its second electric vehicle, which hasn't been shown and won't be delivered till 2024. This is CEO Heinrich Fisker talking. Well, that's the second electric vehicle. The first one hasn't hit the street yet. The Danish-American car designers' second electric vehicle company has taken deposits for the Pear. It's called the Pear, which will start at about $30,000 in the U.S. from customers, in part because battery suppliers have been burned by car manufacturers making overly optimistic sales projections for early plug-in models. We can take all the reservations he wants. He's still got to build a doggone car. They're still got to come off the assembly line. Something's got to give here. Fisker, 58, founded his first eponymous, I don't know, phony company in 2007. Fisker Automotive began delivering its only sports car, the Karma, at a time when Tesla Inc.'s only model on the market was the Roadster. Fisker Automotive went bankrupt in late 2013 after its sole battery supplier went bust, with no saying on how many vehicles Fisker made. I'm telling you, I don't think he made very many. The designer of BMW and Aston Martin luxury cars, that's what he used to do, bounced back to form Fisker Incorporated in 2016, just 3 years after his last bankruptcy. And he took it public in 2020 via a merger with Special Acquisition Company. The new firm has taken more than 32,000 reservations for the first EV, the Ocean SUV, which is scheduled to go into production in November. So it hasn't come out of that. We haven't. Why do they keep giving this guy money? Why does people keep pouring money to this guy? You got to tell me. Somebody's got to enlighten me as how this guy is. As much as Elon Musk put a lot of his own money in it, and he raised money, but the guy's a gazillionaire. This Heinrich Fisker, I don't think he's much of anything. But he just keeps asking for money. He puts his hand out and people slap dough in it. Eric, I don't know how this guy survives. I just don't get it. But he's making out. He's making out like a bandit, this guy. Would you like to hear a story about electric vehicles real quick before we go on break? The proliferation of electric vehicles and charging stations in the coming years could alter the relationship between drivers and where they park. Paul Vosper, CEO of EV charger manufacturer JuiceBar, that's a company that makes the charging system, said that as the vehicle charging network becomes more robust, it creates the potential for a new vehicle-to-building system, meaning that while an electric vehicle is sitting idle, its battery can be used to help power that building. That's cool. I suspect that what we're going to see in the future is buildings competing for EV drivers saying, if you park with me today, I'll pay you $14 or whatever the number would be. So in other words, they're saying that people are not going to pay to park their electric vehicle. They're going to get paid to park it because they're going to use that battery while it's charging to power parts of the building. Now that's odd, Eric.
That sounds
that's pretty futuristic.
Super. You could tell, yeah. It's a good idea.
It's got a theory.
In how this will work.
It has a theory. Yes, it does.
So
I would agree 100%. It has a theory, but that's exactly what it is, a theory. We're talking about electric cars. We're walking our way through this because there's so many startups. And for the last segment today, we're going to talk about the Postal Service, Eric. Simply because I know the vehicles and I work on them, and they're bad news. But anyway, we'll talk about that. In the electric car business, we talked about Fisker, my buddy Heinrich. Hein is a very good name for him, Heinrich. Yeah. Anyway. Magma, that's another startup. It's an international. It's a battery electric startup. Magma International has developed a battery electric 4-wheel drive powertrain system that it says can offer car makers the chance to electrify their pickup trucks without having to completely upend the architectures. The technology will also work with light commercial trucks. In other words, it's called the Intelligent Force, as it's called, uses Magma's e-beam electric drive axle system, which can replace traditional beam axles on a truck without requiring an overhaul of its suspension or brake systems. In other words, Magma is not trying to build a car. They built a platform you can set your car on. Or your truck. They figure the trucks are where they're at, the commercial and all that. They got a 4-wheel drive all electric platform that is out there, and if any manufacturer wants to grab it, which could probably be like Subaru or one of them, that Mazda that can't afford to make their own, they should grab that and just plop their vehicle on top of it and call it their electric vehicle. Because everybody's got to get in the game, or if they don't get in the game, they're going to be out the window. And the game is electric vehicles, but it's the whole 2025 and 2030 and 2035 is really, really ambitious as far as time frame. You can look at probably, and I won't see it, it'll be all electric by 2050 maybe. That might happen. And then by then they'll be so sophisticated, they'll be safe. The lithium ions won't be catching fire like Eric was worried about. And it just is. It'll be fine. We'll be fine. But let's see what happens. I don't know. More on the EV electric vehicles. Tesla's Cybertruck will arrive in 2023 at the earliest. That thing there was a drawing of. Ooh. Industry followers said Tesla fans were let down after CEO Elon Musk said the hotly anticipated Cybertruck will not launch until 2023 at the very earliest. Days before Tesla's earnings call last week, photos and a video of the new Cybertruck prototype made the rounds on social media, offering hope for the 2022 launch. Ain't gonna make it. Tesla CEO Elon Musk played into the hype prior to the earnings call, where he planned to present a highly anticipated product update. In other words, you're not going to get that Cybertruck this year. You might not get it next year, the way things are going. He keeps delaying that thing. That's the third time he's set delay on it. So we'll see what happens. Carvana. Now, Carvana, for those that don't know, if you look up Carvana on the internet or if you see it in the newspaper, it's a great big, looks like a big dispenser for cars. And they're up there in this glass warehouse. And you look it over from the internet, you buy a car, they get it down. How they get it to the ground, I don't know. Maybe they just drop it, who cares? But they sell you this car, then they put it on a tow truck and they take it to your house. Well, Carvana is catching on. The younger generation apparently is too lazy to go shop for a car. And plus, the shopping for a car, I can understand. Now, I'm not going to poo-poo the generation too bad, because shopping for a car has its moments. It's not fun. And it's always, this whole thing, I got to ask my manager, and it's all bull roar. It's not right. It's not right. But anyway, buying from an automat of cars, this is like going to the the old automat where you spin it around till you find the sandwich you want, and then you pull it out. Okay, online used car retailer Carvana said Tuesday, this past Tuesday, it plans to add 3,500 jobs at its new Atlanta campus over the next several years. I would imagine Atlanta's the one. I think that's where they started. The facility, which Carvana said was officially open on Tuesday, is now one of the country's largest locations. Of Carvana's estimated 20,000 overall employees, more than 1,500 work there in Atlanta. The retailer has a history in Atlanta. That's where it launched in January 2013 and sold its first car. That's what I thought. Atlanta was the first market where we sold 1,000 cars in 1 month, and it's still our largest, even though we've sold more than 1 million vehicles to date. This is Carvana CEO Ernie Garcia said in a news release. Now more than ever, we remain committed to our continued expansion within the region. So what's happening there is you get to look at the automat and you spin it around till you find the car you want, and then you bid on it or you tell them you want it, and that's the price or whatever. And I'm not sure how that works. I've never bought a car that way, and guess what? I'm not going to. So it doesn't matter. But some people like it. They like it.